We're back with more Islam Newsroom. We're talking about the subject in general, about the weather phenomenon. We've been talking, of course, about the quakes, the tsunamis. We've discussed to some degree the frequency and the intensity of these monstrous shakings or quakes that have been taking place around the world. In addition to that, we should mention the other weather phenomenon in the past called El Nino. What this has done is to bring about some of the strangest weather conditions throughout the southern Pacific Ocean that anyone could ever have imagined. In the Galapagos Islands alone, so many different types of life forms, the very birds that Darwin had observed and came up with his ideas of evolution. These birds changed not within the millions of years that Darwin had supposed, but rather within the very same year. In fact, within only 6 to 8 months. Because the ecological niche on their islands had changed, when the eggs opened up, their beaks, their bodies were ready to adapt and make adaptation to their new environment. How is that possible, you ask? Well, it isn't possible by anything we know, but it's certainly easy for the one who created everything in the first place, isn't it? And this is what we have found to be true time and again throughout history. When we just about figured out everything as human beings, we had to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. Because in fact, we don't know everything. Allah tells us in the Quran, يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. That in fact Allah is the one who has all knowledge, encompassing everything from the beginning to the end, while we have no knowledge at all except that which He gives us. And now let's refer to more of what Allah has said in His book. Let's look to the Quran and try to discover some of the other phenomenon. One of the things I'd like to mention is about the prophecies dealing with the subject of Yajuj wa Majuj. Of course, for those who are not familiar with Arabic, they'll be wondering, what is he talking about? Well, this has been translated into English as Gog and Magog. If you've ever read the book of Revelations in the Bible, if you've ever taken the opportunity to study some of the prophecies that have been mentioned in the Old and the New Testament, then you too realize, just as the Muslims realize, these are all signs of the last days. But who are these people or these beings called Gog and Magog, or Yajuj wa Majuj? Mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, and also in Surah Al-Kahf, which is chapter 18 in the Quran. These beings, these Juj wa Majuj, or Gog and Magog, are in fact one of the biggest of all fitnas, calamities or trials, tests that the human beings will experience in the last days. They will be everywhere. They will come from every possible end of the earth, and there will be no stopping them. This is one of the things prophesied by the Prophet Muhammad. But let us now examine what the Quran says about that. Let's take a look and let's listen to what the Quran says.
فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِنَ الصَّالِحَاتِ وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَلَا كُفْرَانَ لِسَعْيِهِ وَإِنَّا لَهُ كَاتِبُونَ.
Whoever does righteous good deeds while he is a believer in monotheism, his or her efforts will not be rejected. Verily, Allah will record it for them.
وحرام على قرية أهلكناها أنهم لا يرجعون.
And a ban is laid on every town or population which Allah has destroyed, that they shall not return to this world again.
حتى إذا فتحت يأجوج ومأجوج وهم من كل حدب ينسلون.
Not until when Yajuj or Majuj, Gog and Magog, are let loose, and they swoop down from every mound.
واقترب الوعد الحق فإذا هي شاخصة أبصار الذين كفروا يا ويلنا قد كنا في غفلة من هذا بل كنا ظالمين.
And the true promise shall draw near. Then you shall see the eyes of the disbelievers fixated, staring in horror. Woe to us! We were indeed heedless of this. Nay, but they were Zalimun, the polytheists, the wrongdoers.
إنكم وما تعبدون من دون الله حصب جهنم أنتم لها واردون.
Certainly you, meaning the disbelievers, and that which you were worshipping beside Allah is nothing but the fuel for hell. Surely you will enter it.
لو كان هؤلاء آلهة ما وردوها وكل فيها خالدون.
Had these idols been aliha, gods, they would not have entered the fire, hell, and all of them will abide therein.
لهم فيها زفير وهم فيها لا يسمعون.
Therein they will be breathing out with deep sighs and roaring. Therein they will hear not.
إن الذين سبقت لهم منا الحسنى أولئك عنها مبعدون.
Verily those for whom good has proceeded from Allah, they will be removed far from hell.
لا يسمعون حسيسها وهم فيما اشتهت أنفسهم خالدون.
They shall not hear the slightest sound of hell while they live in that which they desire.
لا يحزنهم الفزع الأكبر وتتلقاهم الملائكة هذا يومكم الذي كنتم توعدون.
The greatest terror will not grieve them, and the angels will meet them. This is your day which you were promised.
يوم نطوي السماء كطي السجل للكتب كما بدأنا أول خلق نعيده وعدا علينا إنا كنا فاعلين.
And recall the day when Allah shall roll up the heaven like a scroll rolled up for books. And as he began the first creation, he will repeat it. A promise binding on him. Truly, he shall do it.
ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون.
And indeed, it was written in the books before, the Psalms, the Old Testament, the New Testament, that the righteous slaves of Allah shall inherit the land.
إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين.
Verily in this, there is a plain message for people who worship Allah.
وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين.
And Allah has not sent you, Muhammad, except as a mercy for all of mankind, jinn, and all that exists.
قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون.
Say, Muhammad, it is revealed to me that your ilah, your God, is only one, Allah. Will you then submit to His will and do His will on earth? Become Muslims and stop worshiping other than Allah. The commentary that we've been talking about is from the early scholars of Islam who memorized and preserved these precious words. The translation, these are from various individuals, and as best we could, we've tried to present it to you so you could understand. Because there is such a comparison between the true message of Christianity, the true message of Judaism, and the true message of Islam, that in fact, your God is one Lord. And to worship Him with all your heart and all your might and all your strength is the basic obligation of every single human being. To recognize who your Creator is, who your Sustainer is,